Hey, I'm Matt Wolach, and I'm here to tell you about SaaS pricing mistakes that are absolute killers. Make sure you are not doing these. Okay, let's talk about pricing. Pricing is so scary. Pricing is one of those things that a lot of people don't know what they're doing. In fact, many SaaS companies who have made it and are scaling, they still don't understand if they have the right price or not. I actually spoke with Patrick Campbell. He's the CEO of ProfitWell and Price Intelligently. He knows all about SaaS pricing. In fact, companies pay him tens of thousands of dollars to understand how he can get them the answers they need for pricing. Well, guess what? Our software founders group, we got to meet Patrick for free. The people that are in the group that I've created got to ask him questions, got to understand all of his data for free. Here is what came out of that. Now, I want to share it with you so that it can help you as well. Number one, most software founders, and this is huge, especially for startups, most software startups are severely underpricing themselves. They're pricing so low because you want to be able to get some early market share. You want to be able to get some early customers. It's killing the company. Two reasons why. One, when you price so low, your market sees you as something that's very budget, very low cost, and thus they don't think it's very valuable. They equate price to value. And if they see a product that's way up here and they see your product way down here, if they really need help, if they're really struggling, they're not even going to look at your product. So make sure that your product is at least competitively priced. You got to get close. Now, you don't have to get all the way to them. They might have more history. They might have more proof and testimonials and case studies, but you need to get close. I recommend 70, 75, 80% of their cost will get you close enough, but still show a little bit of a discount such that your market will look at you and will see that as valuable. The second reason that it hurts to really undercut the price is because then you're not getting enough cash for what you're doing. If you don't get that cash, you don't get that MRR or the ARR, that means you're not going to be able to fuel your company for growth. You got to make sure that you have that cash that creates the oxygen for your growth. A lot of people are talking about getting investors, but if you price appropriately, you can actually have your own sales fuel your growth. So make sure that you get that price in the right spot and not too low. That's number one. Okay, before I go on to the next, make sure that you are subscribed. Hit the little subscribe button, hit the bell next to it. That's going to notify you. So every time I put out a new video with helpful content that's going to get you ahead, you'll be notified so you can make sure you absorb that and apply it to your business. Make sure that subscribe's hit. Okay, in speaking with Patrick Campbell, I learned another thing that founders are not doing correctly when it comes to pricing. What they're doing is they're not getting their value metric correct. What's a value metric? Well, a value metric is what you're basing your pricing on or the units on. It might be a per person or a per seat. It might be a per company. It might be a per instance, or maybe you're charging so much per document that you download. Whatever it is you do, you have some sort of metric that you're basing this off of. So a lot of companies don't get their value metric right. The value metric needs to be something that you value, but that also your market values it. They see it as valuable. It's very important to understand that value metric so that your market gets the value. If you have the value metric wrong, then they're not going to understand it. They're not going to want to buy your product. You're going to be left in a lurch. So make sure you get your value metric right so your pricing is good to go. Okay, we're halfway through. I've got two down. I've got two more for you. Make sure that you have liked this video. And if you have any questions or need to ask anything, go ahead and comment down below. I'll be answering all of those questions to get you what you need. But like and comment, that will really help me understand if this is valuable for you. Okay, the third mistake that founders are making with regard to their pricing is they don't do localization. So what's localization? Well, localization refers to the fact that you need to do a couple of things. You need to make your pricing fit for your market. Okay, now your market might be in one area of the country, or it might be in another area of the world. And as you branch out, you start targeting different areas of the world, different markets. You need to understand how pricing should change. First thing that people do wrong, they don't change the monetary unit, the monetary symbol. So if you're in the US and you start targeting the UK, you need to show British pounds as the symbol. If you're in the UK, maybe the EU, and you have euros, but then you start targeting the US, you need to show US dollars as the symbol. Your system should be able to identify where the people are, where your prospect is, where the visitor to your website is, and show them the proper symbol. Just having the right symbol can be an 8% improvement in your sales. 8%. That's a big improvement by just being able to show the right symbol to the right person. This kind of goes back to a lot of my philosophies. If you've subscribed and watched previous videos, you know that it's very important to make sure that your market, your target, sees you as somebody who gets them and somebody who is for them. If you have the wrong symbol, right there, it's going to throw them off and think, this isn't even for me. They're for a completely different country. So get the right symbol and you'll be good to go. The second part of localization refers to the fact that different regions actually have different price sensitivity. So if you start going into different areas of the world, you're going to notice that some regions are going to be willing to pay more than others. For instance, if you're in the US and you start targeting Southeast Asia, they have a potential to pay 37% less than what people in the US are willing to pay. But if you go to the Nordics, into Scandinavia, you'll actually see prices much higher, the sensitivity is much lower, and they're willing to pay up to 28% more for what you have. Now, if you're in those areas, you now need to understand that if you go outside those areas, maybe if you go from the Nordics to the US or from Southeast Asia to the US, those buyers have different price understanding, different sensitivities, and you can actually have different price, different costs based on where you're going. Patrick told me that the companies that are doing this successfully are seeing huge amounts of revenue boost because they're getting the right price to the right buyer. And when you can match that up, you're going to be able to see a ginormous growth. So by ginormous growth, I mean you can get up to 21% increase on your ARPU. That's your average revenue per unit. Some people call it ARPA, average revenue per account. A 21% increase just by adjusting your price based on different regions of the world. That's pretty incredible. So make sure you understand this stuff and make sure that you are doing the same. Now that's 3. If you like this, hit like. Make sure you're commenting if you have any questions, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything else that's coming up. Let's go to the last one. Now, one of the most amazing things that surprised me when Patrick was talking to myself and the other founders that are part of my group is that software companies don't raise their prices enough. Now, that's not something that I would have found amazing. I think that's true. I would have thought that, and I know that that was the case for me when I was growing SaaS companies. But what I didn't realize was how often you should be raising prices. And in fact, what Patrick said, you should be raising prices at least every year. Every single year, your prices should be going up. And that includes for everybody who has already been with you. Even current customers, you should increase their costs every year. First of all, you should be providing them more value. You should be building out the product. It should be getting better and better. And because of that, you need to be able to apply more resources to make the product even more robust, to help your customers out more, and thus they should be willing to pay for that. So the best software companies, which is only a tiny percent, are increasing their costs, their prices every single year, and thus their revenues and their valuation is going up through the roof. So these are the 4 things that you can do to make sure you are avoiding the worst SaaS pricing mistakes. Make sure that you're hitting all of these and you will be good to go on your pricing. Now, if you liked this, please hit a like, go ahead and comment. That'll really help me understand if this was helpful for you. And then go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.